Welcome back to 3 Men at the Table. I'm Shawn Kent.
Palmer Holland.
I'm Alex, and together we're three mortgage guys who love talking about real estate, businesses, and the people who make the industry great.
We do. I don't. We didn't. It didn't rhyme like it did last time. Like there was a little bit. It was a little off. Well, I'll have
I
to.
think it's
We'll still
I
work on
know I was a little off.
it. It's all good.
I didn't have a beat in the background.
It's all good. So hey, yeah, welcome to episode three. We are very excited because we have the man, the myth, the legend, the person that holds all of us up when it comes to making sure our loans get to the closing table efficiently and not, leaving us with too much gray hair as we're trying to stress out about all the different things that go in to what makes a mortgage loan, right? We talked about last week, we talked about Michelle and a lot of what she does as a loan originator with, document collection and all the other things that entails. But Mr. Westin Korinek, I'll introduce him in a second. He is the one that takes it, I'll call it takes the baton and runs with it and does all the behind the scenes stuff that a lot of buyers, a lot of real estate agents don't know who a processor is or what they do. So we thought it was important to bring them on. We love working with Westin. Westin, welcome to the 3 Men at the Table. Thanks for joining us, my friend.
You bet, guys. Thank y'all for having me. I just realized looking, I think I missed the hat memo though.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did. Yeah, you're not wearing we should have give you a heads up, cowboy hat or something, man.
Something.
yeah. I bet you look good with a cowboy hat, right?
No,
So, I
I don't
mean,
know about that. I never worn one actually.
oh,
Really?
yeah, we got to
Yeah.
get you one then. Everybody should have a cowboy hat, at least one.
I don't have any boots and I don't have a cowboy hat either. Like, and
Yeah,
I've been over here I moved over here in 2012. I'm wearing sandals. I wear sandals everywhere I go, man. If I can wear sandals, like
that's for
so
real.
Can't take the
yeah.
Florida
So
out of the guy.
this episode's gonna be it's not gonna be so those that are tuning in, it's not gonna be like really just kind of going through a lot of like loan guidelines or things like that. We're gonna really kind of like learn a little bit more about like what makes Weston tick. So you get a chance to meet him. What happens in the mind of a processor, a high producing processor? Weston, how many loans do you process a month? Like 50, 60 like loans? Like it's insane. I
Yeah, I average around 50 to 60 a month.
yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
all-time record is 97, so we're gonna get
97
there
loans.
eventually. Yeah.
Holy cow. That's a
How
lot,
many
man.
times have you showed your face on Zoom though? That's yeah.
This one time,
There you go. Yeah, he set up the camera just for this. So, kind of kicking it off, man. Who is Weston? Who is Weston? Where did you grow up? Like tell us a little bit of a backstory of like who is this individual we've got on the podcast?
I grew up in South Texas, tiny town. I heard Michelle's call last week, and I think I have her beat. And Sean, you can Google this too. I
Yeah,
grew
let's
up in
see.
Hope, Texas. I used to tell people the population was 200 people and 500 cows. But Hope, Texas, I looked at last night, looks like population's like 45 people. So
Holy
much smaller
cow.
town,
Hope, Texas.
definitely a tiny community out there, but ever since I was young, I've always I don't know, I've always loved math and this industry gears up for that. So um, there's just something unique and fun with working with clients and running through the numbers.
So, like, talk to me about that. So, you grew up in a small town. You had like you're almost outnumbered by cows. Like, what are what is most of the people do in your hometown? Like, are they farmers? Are they like, do they have something oriented around livestock, or like what do people do in? You said Hope, Texas. What do they do in Hope, Texas?
How do you spell that?
A lot of farmers, a lot of cattlemen down there. I actually personally own cattle still in South Texas. We
Okay.
inherited the farm after my dad passed, and we still keep cattle on the property and keep up with them. But that it definitely small town atmosphere. A lot of relaxation after work because the jobs that they do. And growing up, I remember one of my first jobs was working in a leather factory. Again, cattle in the area, but made belts and wallets and whatnot. But 9 to 5 and go home and enjoy your life. yeah, the simple life down there in South Texas. Up here
Yeah.
in mortgage industry, you guys can attest, we're much busier, and but there's something about the mortgage industry. I tell people all the time, I don't play video games. The mortgage industry is my video game, and
Hmm.
in the weirdest way possible, it's very exciting to me because everybody's it's a scenario or situation is so unique and so different, and it's a challenge sometimes, but it's a fun, fruitful challenge to get people across the finish line and into their new home. So
Yeah.
it's a big responsibility, and it's a lot. It's what really drives me.
Yeah. Well, I know we and I, talk about this all the time. It's just kind of funny. Like, I was out on paternity leave for a little bit. We'll call it, I guess we don't really get paternity leave. I didn't get FNMLA or anything like that. It's just, I tried to unplug for a couple weeks. And I'm sitting there like we're still responding to emails to Weston as he's like working some deals and stuff like that. So he's like, dude, do you ever take time off? It's like I kind of feel the same way, man, where it's like there's really no on or off. It's just it's just kind of what we like doing, which is interesting. So mortgages, I wouldn't say that I ever really knew about mortgages until I got into the mortgage industry. So as a kid, I definitely did not grow up wanting to like be in the mortgage industry, but little Westin Korinek, what did you want to be when you grew up outside of a mortgage processor? Like what was where was your trajectory heading before you jumped into the industry?
Originally when I was a kid, I always thought I'd be a vet. Grew up next to one of my next door neighbors. Again, when I say next door neighbors, we lived out in the country, so you couldn't hit a baseball to hit their house. But they actually had like a mini zoo. They had chimpanzees,
Oh wow.
parrots, you name it, the most wildest thing. So originally, that was my original thought process, but as I've gone through when I, much younger, when I went through high school and whatnot, I really had a knack for mathematics and originally went into becoming an accountant. And it wasn't until I think right outside of high school, I got my first job at the bank. I was a teller, then quickly moved to new accounts, and really owe my career to the branch manager of that bank, Mr. Green at the time, who got me into doing lending for auto loans, personal lines of credits, things like that, which then evolved into mortgage, and now I've been doing mortgage and banking for over over 20 years now. So
Mm.
very excited and got a completely different career shift or education shift in college too. I originally started off going to be a CPA and moved into finance. So
It's kind of funny. You just as I hear your story, like you just kind of naturally fall into mortgage. I think like a lot of people somehow slide into mortgages like through like kind of the back door. I don't think anybody like really I have not run into anybody yet
That
that
just wanted
is
to do that.
they wanted to do mortgages, right? Like they're like, cool, I'm gonna become a mortgage loan officer, or a mortgage underwriter, or something like that. Everybody's like, yeah, I was working at a bank, and I love the mentor is Mr. Green, like
Mhm.
money's green, and he worked at a bank, right? Very like cartoon characterish. But it's like, hey, I started kind of at the bank working with money, working with numbers, and then just naturally progressed into mortgages. So before I kind of kick it off to Shawn, because I know Shawn's got some questions for you, but um, you know, one of the things that I'd love to learn in those that are listening that kind of work with us, and this might land a little bit better with them, more so than just kind of the average listener. But a question that I'd love to know is like, what's something that would surprise somebody to know about you? Like, you have friends, family, and things like that, people that would potentially listen to this show. What's something that you feel that they would not know of you until I asked you this question?
I don't know if they would not know of me. Like I said, grew up in small town South Texas. I have become the biggest beach bum. I did grow up near the coastline, but growing up there, we didn't go down to the Gulf very often. And since I've gotten older, that's probably my biggest surprise, at least to most of my family down in South Texas. I love a good beach trip, especially somewhere the Bahamas, somewhere exciting. And one of my favorite country singers is Kenny Chesney. He grew up similar roots, it's a small town in the country type of thing, and has gone off to play, thousands of beach songs and whatnot. I consider myself a little bit of his spirit inside me, the way he communicates his songs and whatnot. But I think that's most surprising for at least most people from South Texas who haven't ventured out of the town to see what the world, especially the beach world, has for everybody to see.
Beach bum
Beach bum,
Westin.
big time.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
there you go.
what's your favorite beach that you visited so far?
Coco Plum Beach in Exuma, the Bahamas is my absolute favorite beach. Yeah, you've got to go there. Google it.
Okay, yeah, definitely will. I haven't had enough beach vacations, but I'll be honest, I'm kind of like afraid of the ocean. So um that's
I didn't know that about you, Shawn.
I you
I didn't know
know
that you were afraid of is it the salt water? Is it just the sharks or what?
yeah, it's just the unknown, man. It's
It's
just
just
so
the
vast.
flat Earther. He's afraid
Like
he's gonna
like I went
come
on
up.
one cruise and that gave me a lot of anxiety. I
Huh.
saw that documentary on Netflix about the cruise ship that crashed and
Oh yeah.
that gives me anxiety. So like I think about it and I'm like I don't want to go on cruise vacations with my kids because I can't imagine having to round them up and save their lives. And like I think in my mind I'm like I could survive it, but it's like it's not about me. It's about like can I keep my family alive? That's the thing that scares me, I think. So and
Yeah.
I would say the same about the ocean is it's like it doesn't scare me necessarily. It's just like the unknown and just like watching my kids around the ocean. I'm going to Galveston this weekend, but that's
Yeah.
that's an ugly beach. But I'm going for a beach soccer tournament and it'll be fun. But like I'm not really looking forward to like going down to the beach and taking my out like we'll go to the swimming pool at the hotel. Like,
Yeah.
you
That
know.
That's
explains
more your speed. There you
that
go.
explains
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, this is way more my speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, we kind of got into like how you got into the industry. But what moved you from South Texas up to North Texas?
College, I attended University of North Texas up here and finished my degree in finance. And all along the way, I've always, like again, since I was right out of high school, I once I got into banking, done a lot in auto finance, boats, personal lines, you name it, and even all through college, have always worked in lending. And in fact, here in Dallas, got my first moved into my first position where I did home improvement loans, primarily pool loans for clients in the area, big pool builders in the area from a small credit union, and then transitioned from there to doing work for one of the largest, institutions, banking institutions in America, and did a lot of home equity and home improvement loans for them, and then somehow transferred here into the retail world and have loved it ever since. But it's you're constant and never settle.
Well, no wonder you don't shy away from any different programs that we throw at you. Seems like you're always just willing to dive in and figure them out. Like it feels like since we've come here, we've thrown quite a few at you that we thought were going to be tough, and you've gotten them done. Whether it's non-QM stuff or just programs you weren't necessarily familiar with, you've always taken on the challenge and run with it. So we appreciate that about you, but. It's also interesting because we all spent some time in auto refinance before getting into mortgage, so that's kind of something that we all share, in that regard as well. So that's pretty cool. So, what's been the biggest learning curve in this career for you, you think?
You know, you said it, different programs, but the exciting part about is that there's just so many programs out there that a lot of buyers don't know that there's so many molds we can put somebody in. So there's always there, speak to a mortgage professional, speak to us, but uh, there's always a way to get your home financed, and it's a big deal. This is home ownership for folks. You don't know unless you ask, and so we're always here to help. Even when you circling back to auto finance, a lot of first time home buyers. I think that career trajectory for us, and a lot of people have gone through auto finance, personal lines, whatever. It helps me speak to first time home buyers about the process of home buying process. So it's a lot different. Auto finance, you can usually walk into the dealership same day and leave with keys in your pocket and drive that vehicle out. Home ownership and home buying process is a little different, and it's a process, and it helps me navigate them to the end goal for them to get those keys and walk into the house with as little documentation as possible, and know things are going smooth with their loan application. So it's very exciting to see the different programs to do the same thing to help them get through and end up with those keys.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is pretty cool too is that we all have the same goal in mind, right? Like we're all trying to get people into the home and give them the keys, right? Or help them refinance and save money where it's important, or do that next big project, whatever it may be, right? But what you do is so important because I've worked in this industry for a long time. Palmer's been in the industry for 10 plus years as well. And you're rare as far as processors go, because some processors will just kick it back to us in sales and go, "Hey, I don't know how to do this, just figure it out." You are on our team. We feel like you very much want to help us get these loans across the finish line and help these people with whatever it is they're trying, whether it's get the keys or get in the home, or get in the home or get the home fixed up, whatever it is. And that's something that we really appreciate. So what is it that it makes you different in that regard as a processor? Why do you feel like you do that where maybe some aren't as comfortable?
I think God's given me a heart to help, and we've all been there. We're the experts in this field. So when clients come to us and they want this home, they need help getting this home. That's not one person's duty; it's the team's duty to get them into to get them financed, get them into the home. And at the end of the day, I mean, every borrower has their own journey in life, and it's exciting. Again, it's exciting to get them to that finish line, get them in the home or refinance the house like you mentioned, or do that home improvement. There's always a story behind it on the borrower side, the why and the reason what they need the financing for. It really does add value to my life seeing somebody achieve those type of goals, get their financial goals, or get their, whether it be first time home buyers getting their first home for their family, and then them calling back years later asking for, financing for a new home because now their family's growing. This is we're all part of somebody else's life and their journey, and getting them to share in that. It's very exciting, very rewarding for me.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. And I see that in your heart that you definitely want to help people. So I love that about you and working with you. One thing I know about you're actually licensed. How come you don't use your license?
I do use my license, but I tell people I don't know. It's so weird. I have my own mortgage license. I do some help with friends and family and a few realtors, whatnot. But there's some kind of passion, some kind of weird thing in my brain that I just love piecing together. All the documentation to help these borrowers. I like the more behind the scenes work of working between originations and underwriting, and again getting that final puzzle piece in there for the clear to close, so that these families can enjoy their new home, or save on their refinance, whatnot.
Gotcha. Was there ever a point in this industry where you thought, like, man, I don't know if this is for me?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I think we all get, and more so if we're having a tough, like we have a tough, difficult loan, maybe in those moments you're like, oh man. But again, it's like
It happens it's like every day, man.
yeah, it can be. It can
Every
be.
day it's like, man, what am I? Am I doing the right things?
again, when you finish and you actually fund that loan, like when
Yeah.
you get that person across the finish line at the end, all of that stress, all of that, every complications you went through, it's now resolved, and it's just such a peace about it. And that again, that's where that fulfillment or feeling rewarded in the process. I'm not even the one getting the home. It's just that to get them there, again, it's the heart I have for helping others, and it's a rewarding process when we do so.
What
Gotcha.
would you, sorry to cut you off, Sean, but
No, you're good.
there's a lot of questions that we get from buyers on the front end, like what documentation is generally needed. And I think from the sales perspective, like the origination side, we're trying to give them as much of like there's this like unknown that people generally have when they buy a house, right? They're going to lean on us on the sales side, and unless we do a really good job of helping to explain to them kind of like what is to come, like for me, when I onboard somebody and we go through like I call it the next steps call, um, but they have a contract, we'll go over the terms, and then I tell them like, hey, look, I kind of, at this moment, I kind of exit stage left, and I've got two really good people, partners of mine, Shawn and Westin, that come in step right or stage right, and they're gonna run front on all these different things, and I kind of like run through the process of it, but. A lot of times buyers will sit there and they'll just kind of go like, all right, what do you need next? 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 So from a processor standpoint, working with different loan originators, what do you find most successful is you're taking on a file to help a buyer kind of navigate through that the rest of the process. Like what do you see that's done right? What do you see that's not done so right, that people can potentially pick up on?
I think for me, it starts with the loan application. Complete that to the best of your knowledge. But then, if there's not saying that a borrower wants to hide anything, or maybe they have some reservations about providing certain documentation that they think that's going to cause an issue with their loan application. That's not the case on especially with the origination and this processing side. In fact, the more information you give us, it helps us understand your walk of life, and we can navigate literally around everything. It, it's worse when it comes up and we didn't know about it. So, I even had a manager once talk about the mortgage process and talk about how at the end of the day, as us on the origination or processing side, we're going to know more about a borrower's financial life than they know about their financial life. And it really seems so in the best way possible, because the information that we have can better suit which way we can kind of navigate and pivot to get that loan clear to close, again, with the least amount of documentation to be provided, least hassle for any client or borrower, going through the mortgage process.
I
I think
love
that's a
that.
good point. Yeah, like the first manager I had in this business, that was how he kind of taught me to write smart loans. Is one, you take a complete 1003. You make sure that you ask every question and you dot the I's, you cross the T's, and then you prepare them well. You get all the information you need, but at the same time, take a smart application. If you don't need to ask for the extra bank statements, don't ask for the extra bank statements. Just ask for the ones that are going to help show the income, the assets for closing, and avoid anything that might raise extra questions from the underwriter later on. But of course, doing everything with integrity, but just making sure to write the smartest loan, the smartest loan possible, so that it's the easiest for the client as well.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's a for me because I'm new to the business. I've been seeing like all the outside the box thinking that you guys do, especially you Weston as a processor. So that's really nice to see that, trying to do whatever you can for the client. But so let me ask you this: what can you walk us through your typical day? Like, what does your day look like as a processor?
Oh, it's pretty chaotic. It's bouncing around about a dozen different applications. But it's whether it's you gotta hop on a call and go through, work with the client to navigate again, maybe a scenario that's popped up, and it's pretty easy to come up with solutions. I've seen it all. I'm sure there's more to see though. And with that, I kind of navigate between originators and the underwriters all day long. But the greatest thing is it's always a team effort, and there's always a solution behind it. And I've got great reputation and great communication skills between the entire team from start to finish, which helps them navigate borrowers again to cross the finish line to they clear the close. But tons of emails, tons of Zoom chats and calls to get the loan done
Mm,
and move on to the next one.
nice. What's the hardest part about being a processor?
Probably the emails.
The
I
email.
do not. I probably get over 1,000 emails a day, but in the best way possible. That's
Yeah.
that's the communication that you deal with. I mean, we work with title companies, closing department here, underwriters, loan originators, borrowers, real estate agents, insurance agents. So communication's key, and keep up on that timely so that everybody's keeps moving along and the ball gets passed around to each people's court, but ends up we scored a goal and we finish it up.
Nice. Yeah, Sean's been having trouble with emails too recently. But what's the most rewarding part about being a processor?
Yeah, just that. Just when you know somebody's a borrower's life. Again, the why or the reason behind the application. Hey, we're growing our family. We really need this new house. Or hey, my elderly parents. Well, we want to get them closer to us. Can you help navigate their loan process so they can be in our neighborhood or build that mother-in-law suite in the backyard? Or hey, finances are tight. Now we need to refinance and take a look at what our options are to lower that monthly payment obligation. Those it. We're all human. We all have different goals in life, and it's just rewarding to know when you help somebody meet those goals.
I love that for sure. All right, so you work with these great loan officers here. What's the one thing loan officers should do better?
Should do better. Oh,
Yeah,
these are
or it could do better.
fantastic loan officers. Again, I always say communication is key, and we do a fantastic job of communicating within this team to let each other know what may be pending, what's going on. If there's sometimes a delay on home repairs or job changes going on at the same time with loan application, whatever. Communication's key, and again, just the initial loan application, get that squared away because that really does give the blueprint of how the rest of that loan's going to go.
Absolutely. Communication is definitely key. I learned that for sure here. What about what's one thing that realtors could do better to make everyone's life easier?
I think realtors do a fantastic job. There's documentation that we have to get like updated addendums and whatnot. I think the sooner the realtor would jump on and request those items, the sooner we can keep the mortgage chugging down the line. But as far as realtors go, I think communication is always key between all of
Yeah,
us. And I know Palmer and Sean do a fantastic job with keeping up with them to let them know where the loan is in the process, when the appraisal comes in, all that fine stuff. So it's so exciting. Again, I'm sure the realtors still feel the same way we do. It's exciting, and they've got even more of a personal relationship with the borrower or whatnot, but with their buyer. But it's exciting to get them in the home after why. The why behind the reason for that home purchase.
Weston, you're such a nice guy, but do you have any pet peeves?
Pet peeves. I started working from home about a year before COVID hit, and used to my pet peeves. I'm very highly focused at work, and nothing but hammer away at work all day. So my pet peeve would probably be interruptions, just to chit chat in the office. So working from home prevents me from that, and I'm highly successful and productive from home. So that'd probably be it. I am, although I do like to talk a lot during work, I like to hammer it out and get things done.
Yeah.
So me and Palmer probably are your pet peeves.
yeah, no, for real, Sean, for sure.
I'll call Weston and like have just like one question, and then I'll ask the question, he answers it, and I'm like, so what's going on? And he's just like, not much, man. Just, trying to do it.
Yeah, I could tell when we first started, like having you, come on to just like Zoom calls and stuff so we could go over things that you very much wanted to get in and out of these calls with us. And we kind of brought your personality a little more into the calls. So now sometimes, I feel like you're hanging out and having
Mhm.
fun with us more than you were initially,
Oh,
which is
Yeah.
I am. You guys are a great group of guys.
What's the craziest loan you've ever worked on? Not the one, we're not gonna do names or anything like that, but not the one that happened a couple months ago that, went like sideways, but like
But
like the craziest loan story. You're just like a win, right? Like not thinking it could pull through, but it pulled through and you got it to the finish line.
the one that I'm thinking of, Weston, right now rhymes with Bama, and could be crazy if it gets close.
That one
But
is kind
anyway,
of crazy, man. Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
I think you're handling most of that though, so that's off my plate. I'll let you keep handling it too. I
Yeah.
think the craziest one I ever had, or the one that always sticks to my mind, was I had this lady. She had inherited a property from a deceased aunt, and it had a bunch of back taxes due, and the state was only giving her, like a closing date. This is the hard closing date. After that date, we're taking control of the house. And I remember she kept, she didn't have much time to do the loan application. I remember getting it all the way to the end. We got it clear to close, and we were able to rush documents out in time, just like literally the day that she needed to sign to get that home, to get the home back. And that was the biggest victory and win for me because always remember having to work directly with the closing department to do so too. They were stacked up, but we were all again working as a team to make sure that hey, we're going to have to bump this one up to the front of the line just so this lady doesn't lose the house. And I just remember the phone calls from her afterwards, in tears, just so that she didn't lose that house in the process. And it was a big save. It'll always be in my mind. When you talk about the toughest loan, that was probably the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well, it
special.
sounds like the most rewarding too, man. Like to be able to come in a time of need that somebody's needed, for what they're trying to do.
What was
Like,
the turnaround on it?
Oh, it was short. They did. I don't know if she had much time when they notified her or what. I mean, weeks. And but again, super excited to get it done for her.
what would you say in your career since I mean, you've been in the industry for 20 years, um, what's been the funniest, like not like poking fun at somebody, but what's been like the funniest kind of thing that you've seen, on a maybe a mortgage application that you're like, this isn't real. Like this can't be real.
I think the worst I've seen was a first time home buyer who happened to provide tax returns with a Schedule F farm loss, but
Hmm.
didn't own any property. I think that was the craziest one I've seen. Of course, we're not the IRS police, but
Yeah.
I noticed that. But the thing funniest is again going back to what I mentioned earlier. I think the most important thing what home buyers need to know is be completely open up front with whatever hesitancy you have with the application, whether it be your income, your assets, whatnot. There's 1,000 ways that we can navigate things. It gets complicated and funny when we don't know X, Y, and Z is happening, and it's a shock to us. We're here to help navigate the loan through underwriting, and again, let us know all the details, good, bad, or ugly. That's what helps us, actually prepare the right application and get it through underwriting the quickest.
Dude, speaking of farm, I think like as you were talking about it, I had this guy one time. So we have to, those that are listening that are not in the industry, we have to be very aware of like large deposits. And we look at the bank statements, right? Like, and we're not like combing the bank statements to like pass judgment. There's certain parameters that we have to abide by federal law and agency laws and things like that. Um, and so large deposits, depending on the type of loan program, right, have different thresholds. I remember this one guy, he had like a, I don't know, it was like a 20, Weston, you may have been the processor on this deal. He had like a $20,000 large deposit. And we were asking him like, what it was. And he's like, "Oh, I sold some cows." And I was like, "Okay, this is kind of a new one for me." And so going down that path, now we've got to document it, right? Now we've got to get like a bill of sale. We've got to get a paper trail to kind of like package the file so that it's a sellable loan is what it was. And so I'll just never forget, like the guy ended up getting it, he ended up turning in what looked like you go to a restaurant and they've got like the old paper kind of like carbon like
Yeah, like the
like
pink,
things or
yellow,
whatever.
white
That's what it, yeah,
slips.
that's what it looked like. It was like invoice, it was very, very like 1990s. And it just said like five, it said four heifers is what it said. It said four heifers on it, and they were all priced at $5,000. And I don't know like if that was legitimate. I don't know where the guy is now, but I'll never forget it, man, because we were like, dude, because the deal could have fallen apart because he needed that money to pay earnest money. He needed that money to pay his down payment, his closing costs. So here we are. We had this large deposit. And we had to find out, how to document it, and it worked, man. We ended up getting this invoice. He said sold heifers on it. We got a dollar amount. I think we even had him find the person he sold it to sign off on it because it had to have both parties' signatures on the invoice there. So it's crazy what we come into in this industry, man. Really crazy. What's kind of as we're kind of winding this thing down, you know, what's the most, I'll say this, what's the most frustrating part about our industry when it comes to processing loans? Um, it pertains, I'm kind of leading you down this, but like guidelines, right? Guidelines are ever changing. What's been kind of like some frustrations that you generally have with the ever-changing guidelines, and how do you overcome that, or how do you kind of stay on top of everything to make sure that if we're battling an underwriter on something and we know the underwriter might not be looking at it the way that we feel that they should be looking at it, like what are ways that you stay top of your game? Like, do you read guidelines every morning, or what do you generally do?
I I do not read guidelines every morning.
Okay.
I'll actually admit, you said it right. Guidelines change like almost daily sometimes.
Hmm.
And so when asked, I've stopped memorizing guidelines a long time ago because they're constantly changing. But, with that same thing being said, the industry is always changing and there's always it almost seems sometimes more complicated for documentation or whatnot. I think the best knowledge that I have is working through each client and Paul, I mean, Shawn mentioned it earlier about trying to narrow down. We don't need the 20 different bank statements or bank accounts that somebody has. We only need the three that gets them across the finish line with enough assets to close. If there's an issue with a large deposit, maybe there's another account that they have. We just have to verify the assets. We don't need to verify, all of their assets. And so I think it's just ebb and flow with what's required to get the loan across the finish line with as least amount of documentation possible. And once again, fortunately, I have a great relationship, and I always build those relationships with underwriting so that we can have a open communication on, hey, this is the story, and how do we get around it? And oh, this is all we'll need. I'll get back with the client, the borrower, and do just that. Hey, this is if you can provide X, Y, and Z, we can get this done for you, and it'll make everybody's life easier. So it's
Yeah.
it's about guiding each other through the process.
So I was I'm not going to drop any names or anything like that, but I had a conversation with somebody that we work with. Um, and they said back in the day, this is like 15 years ago. So you've been in the industry for a long time. You can validate whether this is true or not. But processors and underwriters and sometimes closers, people that work on the back end of these files, salespeople would sweeten you guys up, to make sure that their file was looked at the top of the list sometimes, and you guys were getting maybe, you know, bottles of liquor or like, some new shoes or, can you speak to anything like that? If a salesperson, have you, I won't say bribe, but have you ever taken any incentives from a salesperson so that their files get looked at faster than other people's files?
No, I've never taken an incentive to get somebody's
Okay.
file in front of others.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely send you my PayPal information so that you
Okay.
Smooth.
Yeah, there you go. I heard
there,
about it, right? This was, it was, people send in purses and things like that to their favorite underwriters or something so that they
that's funny.
made sure that, when their file was pushed into processing, it was looked at first or whatever. So, all right, we're gonna do just a quick rapid fire, and just top of the head, right? So, coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee in the winter, energy drinks in the summer.
Okay, switch it up. Morning or night?
Morning. I'm a huge morning person. I wake up every morning at 4:30.
Wow.
Dang,
What time do
there
you
you
go to
go.
bed?
That's what success is.
8:30. No, I go to bed at
Oh,
9:30, 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you working out in the morning or are you like up doing loans?
That's it. I wake up at 4:30 and I go to the gym at 5:30.
There you
nice.
Okay,
go.
there you go.
All
Nice.
right, favorite food,
Mexican food.
favorite movie.
The Water Boy.
Nice.
Nice.
Classic.
Dude,
Classic for sure.
Gatorade's better. Favorite hobby.
Favorite hobby? Mortgage, like I told you, it's something weird about this. This is my hobby, and it's a weird, again, weird thing to say. Again, this is my video game, so mortgages.
All right, favorite
Weird.
sports team.
Texas Longhorns.
There
Okay.
you go.
Three words your coworkers would use to describe you.
Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
I would say resilient. That's one I would use. What about you, Sean?
I would say um always like friendly. I mean just
Friendly. Okay.
friendly.
What about you,
He's always got
Alex?
a smile on his face. You can tell he's smiling whether he's typing, whether he's, talking to you on the phone, whatever. You can tell Weston's got a smile on his face.
Knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable.
There
Love
you
it.
go.
All right.
Right. Thank
So
you.
we'll kick this off, man, and just if you can speak to anybody that is in the audience listening to this, but what is maybe what's a piece of career advice you can give somebody, working through something, trying to decide what they want to do. What's a piece of advice you'd like to give one of the audience members?
I think we've talked about it throughout this whole call. Communication and knowledge is key, and don't ever be afraid to talk to a mortgage professional, especially talk to this team. But to the questions you have, that you never know unless you ask. And there's again 1,000 ways to navigate your financial goals, and that's the key piece there is always ask. There's no wrong there's no stupid question and no wrong answer. Again, communicate what your needs are, and we'll help you across that finish line.
Heck yeah, I love it, man. Well, Weston, we appreciate you spending a little bit of time. I know there's like 90 loans that you need to process for the entire group. So not only are we going to let you go get back to it, but we kind of need you to go back to processing the
Working,
loans
yeah.
so that we can meet some closing deadlines. But we generally, just from the bottom of our heart, appreciate you not just for joining 3 minute at the table, but also getting to share some working space and getting to know you a little bit better is one of our brothers. So, man, we appreciate you, and yeah. How well you originate? Do you want to do a plug for, like, if anybody wants to contact you for like loans, to originate or anything like that? Do you want to leave your contact information?
Yeah, I'll drop it in the comments.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So he'll drop in the comments if anybody needs to get a hold of Weston for any loan origination, stuff. You'll have his details there. And man, everybody else listening, you guys have a great week. And we'll have episode 4. I don't know who our guest is for episode 4. We gotta maybe we'll bring on a real estate agent next episode. I gotta make some rounds working for some stuff. Alex, Shawn, do you have any last minute words or anything like that?
No, I think we're good, but thanks, Weston, for joining us. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate you spending
thank
time
you
with us.
guys.
Nice
Cool.
seeing your face.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, y'all don't know this, but Weston never shows his face, so this is actually
we got him
special.
out. We got him set up with a camera, so it's good.
Yeah.
The reason is I'm always multitasking, so you don't know I'm actually running around my office while I'm on Zoom calls.
There you go.
There you go.
All right,
All right,
we'll
guys.
see you guys.
Pleasure. Have a good one.
Peace.
Pasa solo